Hoi hoi folks, good morning, good afternoon and good evening wherever you are in the world. My name's Sean, aka Uncle Frogface, and welcome to today's video. If you're new here, then welcome. If you're not new, then welcome back. So we are dipping our toes back into the world of Culiau. So this is a lovely little case that the guys over at Culiau sent to me for my birthday, which I thought was very nice. And inside I have my customizer. So you'll know I've done reviews on this tool before. It is something that I truly love, and I've said before that I use this tool for my work. So it's kind of sponsored, I guess, this video, but by myself. So as well as being Uncle Frogface, I am also the Twisted Fairy behind Twisted Fairy's Wands on Etsy. That's my store where I sell handmade wooden wands. So I'm actually going to be taking you today down to my workshop. So I have my studio and my office. I also have a workshop. So for the first time, you're going to get to see inside my workshop. And I'm going to take you through the process of making a magic wand on my lathe and designing it and taking you through that process. And then we're going to be using the customizer not to engrave, although we might do a little bit of engraving. No, we're going to be using these. These are custom bits made for the customizer. Custom bits for the customizer. They are the correct diameter shaft. And these are not engraving bits. No. Let me just open this up. These are carving bits. So these are rotary carbide tips. So we're actually going to be using these to do some carving today, so not just engraving. I'm very excited for this. I love Culiau and the products that they send out. I've actually got a few other products from Culiau to show you as well in the very near future, as well as some other projects that I'm doing with them. So without further ado, we're actually going to be switching away from my studio camera and onto my phone. Basically how I used to record videos, just because I don't want to be getting dust inside my camera lens. My phone's fine. So we're going to be switching over to my camera in the studio, and I'm going to take you through making a wand. I'll probably look a little bit different as well because of protective gear, but yeah, I will see you in the workshop. Welcome to my workshop. So this is where I do basically a lot of my making for the one shop and bigger makes. And I've actually got some bigger makes due to come on the channel as well, some projects that need more space. So we'll be down here more often in the future. But before I kind of get into what we're doing today, I thought I'd show you some of the wands so you have an idea of what we're talking about. I'm talking a little bit about the anatomy of the wands as well, because they kind of follow the same as a knife. So I've got a few here. So these are ones that are all currently available from the cheap and simple. So this one is just a single piece of wood that's been stained. It's been turned and carved and stained, and it looks like fossilized bone. So that is a very simple one, to more elaborate ones like this one, which has a carved handle there, and this is black palm wood for this section. We have this one here, which is, this is oak that's been ebonized. It has a brass ferrule here, and then this is a zebrano wood handle. You can see heavily textured here and here in these sections. And then we have this one, which is, I'm trying to remember, ash, I think. It's either ash or sycamore, potentially, the blade. And then this part here, the handle, obviously heavily textured, and we have some metal adornments on there as well. So you heard me say there, blade. This is where wands and knives are very similar, in that you have your blade, you have your handle. Sometimes this is called the pommel, or you can have a pommel button on the bottom. You can also have transition sections as well. So we've got this brass section in here. But yeah, basically talking about a wand is basically talking about a knife. So handle and blade, that's what makes up a basic wand. So I've got down here my little Slytherin sketchbook where I have lots of ideas and notes of what I'm working on. And I actually have in here here, a very, very bad quick sketch of what I intend to do today. This is going to be a 3-wood wand. So I have, these are offcuts that I have. So this is a piece of American black walnut. We have a nice little bit of cherry, and then we have a piece of maple as well. So if I stack these all together, that's quite a sizable piece of kit. Obviously these are going to be a little bit shorter when they actually go together. So we're going to do American black walnut for the pommel, the handle, then cherry for a little intermediary section part, and then maple for the blade. It's actually quite a heavy piece of wood, maple. So you can see here we've got this fluted bit here with this spiral section, which I want to use the same engraving as in here, the same carving pattern. And then we have this kind of, it's almost like a peanut shape, which I want to texture with this texture here, which is using various different shapes and types of dots. First of all though, we need to think about construction and getting these parts together. So each part I want to slot into the next. So when I'm turning these, I need to make sure that I'm leaving a little nub. In fact, let me sketch this so I can show it a little bit more clearly. So we'll do a little bit of a cross section. So imagine we've got this handle section here. So we've got this one section. So the next part I want to slot into that. So I'm going to drill a recess into this part here using 8 or 9 millimeter drill bit. And then when I turn down the next piece, so for instance the peanut section here, there we go. When I turn that, I will make sure that I also turn an 8 millimeter or 9 millimeter peg that fits into this. And that way, as long as my drilling is nice and straight, then one piece literally slots into the next, glue it together with some good old wood glue, and that is a really nice strong bond. You get lots of gription with that. So that's the plan. Anyway, first thing I need to do is find the center of each of these, mark them, punch them, and drill the ends that need to be drilled. So this is going to need to be drilled in one end. This is going to need to be drilled in one end as well. This one doesn't, but both of these need pegs turning on them. So I think for this, it's going to be a case of getting all of the construction done on my trusty lathe here, which I absolutely love, my Axminster workshop lathe. Then we'll glue everything together. The glue will set fairly quickly, and then we can go in and start using our customizer and actually doing the engraving section. Right, let's get to measuring things up, and then I'll throw this onto the lathe and you can see me turning a little bit. So I've got my mask on. I'm not sure how well you can hear it. I might need some subtitles down here. I've also got my visor as well, and we've got the American black walnut all chucked up, ready to go. So I'm going to start turning this down. I'll give you a bit of an overhead view of this piece, and then it's pretty much rinse and repeat on the others. But we're good to go. Let's get started. So this is not a lathe video. I'm really not going to go into very much detail here. This is very much about the customizer, which we will come to very shortly. But I'm just using a roughing out gouge here to bring the spindle down to the size that I want. Once I've done that, which really doesn't take very long at all, I'm coming in with these carbide tips and refining the shape that I want and really getting those minor details in, using my calipers to make sure I've got the right measurements as well, so that way everything matches up nicely. But really defining the sections that I want, shaping the pommel area, and just making a few little grooves so that I can differentiate that section in the middle where I'm going to do that texturing. Okay, so this is the basic shape of our first piece, all finished. So we can see we've got that's pretty much the whole solid handle there. And then we're going to do this transition piece in the middle before going on to the actual blade itself. So this is still very rough, but this is all going to be carved, so not too worried about that. And then these bits here, I will quickly sand smooth. So I'm just going to take some sandpaper, run over this bit and this bit before separating this off. Then we can get on to our next piece, which is cherry. So next time you come back to me, we should have the handle, the midsection and the blade all completed, ready to be glued together. Okay, so we've got each part all finished in terms of turning on the lathe. These have been, so this for instance, the blade has been final sanded as well, and you can see that they just slot together very nicely, and that one in there. So I am now going to glue this all together, try and make it sure it is as straight as possible, and I'll come back to you once this is all properly dried. So it is now the next day. I've got changed back into the t-shirts for a bit of continuity, but I've just got back home from work, had my tea, and this is now fully dry. It is solid as a rock. So I'm going to turn the camera around so we can have a little look at the Culiau, because this, as lovely as it looks and as lovely as the wood will be when it's been polished and finished, still looking a little bit plain. So let's get the customizer out and do a little bit of texturing. Okay, so here it is. As you can see, we've got the black American walnut, the cherry, and the maple. Some lovely wood grain on this maple here. Look at that there. Really, really nice. So the next thing to do, as I said, is to add some texture. And if I bring over some of these other ones, there's a couple of these that I want to do variations of. So we've got this here. So this actually is wenge, but I really like this kind of spiral bark texture. So we're going to be doing something like this on here, and then this kind of decayed area, that's what I want to put on this to make it look a little bit less like a peanut. I'm kind of going for elder wand vibes on here, you know, those little knobbly bobbly bits. That's the plan anyway, and to do it we are going to use the customizer. So let's get it out of here. So the customizer, I actually have one of the bits in there, an engraving bit. This makes very small engraving sections. You'll know from previous videos I'm a massive fan of this tool for many reasons, but the difference between these tools or these bits rather, and these bits, as you can see, these are very large in comparison, and these are carbide burrs. So these are designed not for engraving, basically scratching the surface and slowly wearing away. These are designed for really shifting materials. So I'm going to swap this bit out, put it over in my case here, and pop this in. So good thing with the customizer is actually I don't use the little screw collet nut that goes in there. This has got a push mechanism that locks the bit into place. It's one of the patents that Culiau has for this tool. It's one reason it puts it above some of the cheaper engraving tools that you get out there. So important thing to remember with this, and I'm trying these for the first time, when we use the engraving bits, as you know, this is battery operated, not mains operated, means it hasn't got the torque of, say, a Dremel or a mains operated tool. So it means going in light passes, being more mindful of what you're doing rather than trying to gouge out of it, which is a comment I've had in other videos where people have said, oh, I'm trying to carve out this section with an engraving bit. Well, firstly, that's the wrong bit, and secondly, don't put so much pressure on and you'll have a much nicer time. So I want to have this spiral in here. I think I want to go for quite a tight spiral on this. So I'm going to go, first of all, this is the highest setting. There we go, can you see that? Very quickly you can see we're actually carving away at this. Actually, I think what I might do, let's take a different bit. Have I got one that's more rounded? I do. I've got quite a nice round one here. I'm going to see if I can establish a bit of a spiral in this, actually like an engraved, not engraved, a carved spiral going round. Let's see how this goes. There we go. I think you can see that's going rather nicely. I am going to spend some time working away at this with these tools, having a bit of a test out of all of them. and get some texture into this handle. Once I've worked away at this handle using a combination of these short and these wider marks to get that bark texture, I'll come back and we can start to have a little look at this peanuts section. If you can hear any purring in the background, it's because I've got Tinkerbell in the office with me as I record this voiceover. But this tool with this bit is doing an amazing job. I am very, very happy. So let's just move Tinkerbell out of the way. I am an affiliate with Culiau, so if you'd like to support the channel and get yourself a very, very good, amazingly well constructed tool, then use the link down below, head over to Culiau. Any purchases that you make using the links, you do get a discount as well using codes down below. Goes towards helping the channel, and I'll be very, very grateful. But as you can see, this is coming along very nicely and very quickly, so I'm going to spend a little bit of time just deepening some of the texture in this here and just having fun and playing with these new bits for the customizer. Excuse the wobbly camera, I'm going to have to get a different setup for out here in the workshop, but you can see I might go over this a little bit more just to add even more detail. But you've got, as the spiral goes up, the top part of the spiral is much more twisted and then much plainer underneath, just to give a little bit of contrast. And that was incredibly quick to do, so I am very, very happy with that. Now we come up to this section up here, and we need to think about the dots that we're going to put into it. So I think I'm going to use this rounded tip one and give this a go. So essentially what I'm going to do is some really big dots and sections and circles. I'm going to really wear away at it, and then over in the sections I want to go in and fill in with smaller dots as we go. So we've got quite an array of different bits here to use. Some nice rounded ones. In fact, I might go for that one first. It's got a little bit bigger diameter at the top. So I'll put my mask back on, put my goggles back on, and then get cracking on this section. Speaking of supporting the channel, the easiest way that you guys can do that is simply by subscribing. I know a lot of people that view the videos aren't subscribed. Honestly, clicking that little button does make a massive difference, so go ahead and do that. If you want to support the channel even further, I have now set up a Patreon. Links are down below if you'd like to go there and get some exclusive benefits and join the exclusive Patreon Discord. Well, I've always been a fan of the customizer, but now with these, I mean, it really does open up even more possibilities and opportunities for me. So this kind of thing usually I would do with a Dremel and I'd be stuck in my workshop. Now, with the lovely weather coming, I can take these bits, and there are a few in here which I'll point out in a second, which I absolutely love, and do exactly the same kind of thing in my garden and enjoy the sunshine, because no cord, portable. I can take this wherever I want. So these tungsten carbide tips, honestly, really rate them. They are really good. In particular, this little circle one here was great at coming and doing the fine detail in this section, but also taking a couple of big gouges out as well to vary up the texture across there. Also really good at cutting in this initial spiral and then coming in with one of these and smoothing out on the bottom. The other one, this one here, this is an absolute gem. This top edge cuts beautifully. All of this work around here was done with this single tool. It's honestly, absolutely love this bit. Really nice. So all that's left for me to do now, I need to give it a bit of a sand first, and then I need to finish it up with my patented Twisted Fairy Wands finish, which is a top secret recipe, which I will not share. And you'll get to see all of the lovely grains and the darkness and the richness of these woods. So for you, it's going to be just a second. For me, it'll be a little bit longer, but I will see you in just a moment. And we are back in the studio. Hope you liked that glimpse of my workshop. You're going to be seeing a lot more of that in videos to come, believe me. But I will keep you in suspense no longer. Here is the finished wand. There we go, with all of that lovely texture and all of that created from the Customizer. So I'm, as I said, very, very happy. It's just made an already versatile tool more versatile. In fact, I'm just gonna pop that bit back in there and pop the lid back on. That way I've got a bit ready to go. Might even just pop it on charge quickly so it's ready to go for the next time I need it. And I honestly do use this tool a lot. It has a lot of uses, whether it's smoothing 3D prints or engraving on different items. I can't say enough about it, honestly. But now I can use it in my wand shop as well to create some lovely texture on these wands. Usually I come up with stories and names for my wands, so I'd like you to comment down below, give me a name for this wand. Maybe something Customizer themed or Culiau themed, maybe something alliterative. But yes, this, I just love the way, look at that, catches the light as it goes around. It's really, really pretty. This wand is going to be going on the store once I have selected a name from you guys. Once I've got a name, I can create a story and it will go up. I'll leave some closer video of this at the end so you can really see all of the details and the grain of the wood nice and up close. But for now, as always, I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and until next time, goodbye.